Hey, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. As you know, this is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock 18 right here in the great Pacific Northwest. Each week, we're going to talk about caches and cachers from here all around the world. So while you're panicking about the chance of snow, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
Let it snow, let it snow. Well, that means it's time, of course. What's that?
That's what all the teachers say.
I know, yeah.
Let it snow.
It's time to bring in our tidy tamarin. Some say he's so manly, he shaves with lasers. Others say he wears a porcupine coat to maintain social distance. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
Yeah, all Canadians actually have porcupine coats, and it's turned out to be very convenient this time of year with everything else going on. And the lasers have sharks attached, so it's very manly.
I only see you wear that coat when you come to the U.S., though.
Well, just keep your distance, buddy.
I am.
Yeah.
Border closed. Border closed. And yet, you guys keep exporting that cold air from the Fraser Valley, so I don't understand. I thought the border was closed. But
keep your geese on your side, too.
Yes.
Well, you can't have any Timbits either, so.
Yeah, well.
That's my waistline thanks you.
There you go. Well, we'll figure it all out. Hey, but we're not here to talk about sharks or porcupines or Timbits or cold air. We are here to talk about GC8NEAT with Sven Otto from HQ. Hey, Sven.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome back to the podcast, my friend.
Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
It is our absolute pleasure. And we are really looking forward to talking to you about the Locationless Cache, GC8. I mean, should I just keep spelling it out? Should I spell it out phonetically, or should we just call it NEAT?
We just call it GC8NEAT internally, so
okay,
I think you could do the same.
All right. Just, don't want to step on any toes there. All right. Well, that is definitely what we're going to be talking about. We are looking forward to it. But before we get to that, hey, you know what we always do at this point in the show? Speaking of lasers and sharks.
Oh.
You see what I did there? This is the quick reminder that we always have at this point of the show to let you know that we appreciate the support of our patrons, and our chat lackey's making me laugh because he's doing the analog shark in the background. The analog shark never gets old now. Hey, we appreciate the support of our patrons. All right, way to go, Sven. Who help to keep this podcast coming each and every week. Thanks to Land Sharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor. Hey, I have a question for you guys. Have you seen the brand new Extreme Geocacher coin from Land Sharks?
I did.
Very cool. Very shiny. Very cool. And the question is, are you an Extreme Geocacher?
I'm not.
Well, I know Sven is. Well, this coin celebrates those who hike, swim, canoe, kayak, climb, or dive to get that exclusive, elusive Extreme Cache. And hey, it is, as I said, one very shiny coin. It's a really cool design. Check it out, landsharks.ca, and it's definitely a coin I'm looking at getting into my collection.
Yeah,
so.
it's really cool, really shiny. But if there's ever a cache for somebody that's lazy and casual, I probably won't get it either because I'm too lazy to get it. But I will admire the email when it comes out.
There you go. Well, folks, if you want to know more, if you want to know more about supporting this show, click that Patreon link on the cachingandw.com, a website. I haven't even had coffee tonight.
Wow. How'd you get away with that?
I'm just bouncing off the walls already.
Wow. No time to stop by Tim's?
No. Well, we went out for our walk this evening, but we decided to just keep on walking.
You probably passed 3 Tim Hortons right there on your walk.
2.
Okay.
You're not far off.
Is that how you tell directions in Canada? You go past the first 2 Tim Hortons, take a left, past the next 4, take a right, and after 6 more Tim Hortons, you're there.
It's like giving directions in downtown Seattle. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you use Starbucks. We use Tim Hortons.
Starbucks. Yeah. Oh, folks, if you want to get into tonight's chat, use the hashtag GC8NEAT, or you could just use the hashtag NEAT if you can't type GC8. To add something to tonight's show, and of course, you can use the hashtag FITAS to bring up something for the after show.
It was a good try.
Yeah, I know.
Sounds
I got no echo.
It's a little bit different, but it's good. Yeah.
No, I'm not wit's end.
Yeah, well, whatever hashtag you use, we have a talented chat lackey who will find it and get your question in that we can talk to Sven about it, because that's what we're here to talk about tonight. Normally we talk about some news, but it's been kind of a slow news week
actually,
in the geocaching
I've
world.
got-
But Land Monkey
some
has
news.
something late breaking. Yeah.
I've got news.
Helicopter flying over now, and I see Land Monkey down there with some news. There, take it away.
Everybody pay attention to me. Okay. Hey, friend of the show, Stephen Hoy, author of 105 Hikes, who has been on the podcast to talk about that book. He announced today that the e-version of his brand new book, 105 Destination Hikes, I totally got the name of that book wrong. So I will look it up later so I can get it right later in the show. But Stephen Hoy's digital copy ebook of his new book is available starting tomorrow. So I just wanted to throw that out there. Some late breaking news that, if you're a fan of Stephen Hoy's books, this new one is going to cover destination hikes into across southern BC and into Washington State. So, for you guys down in Washington, there'll be some cool spots that he's going to highlight there as well. It's thank you, Chat Lackey. It's destination hikes in and around southwestern British Columbia. So in and around includes northern Washington State.
Very good. If you're not a fan of his books, you should be.
Yeah. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, go back and check out whatever episode it was that he was a guest on our show and talked all about his book.
Yeah.
He was a very good guest.
And he'll be back when he has more stuff too.
He will be back in probably April to talk about the new book.
106.
There you go.
Yeah.
We missed apparently the first 104 books he put out.
Yeah.
But from this point on, we got him covered.
We got it. Yeah.
Because that's how that works. Okay.
All right. Well, speaking of having guests back to the show, Sven has been a prior guest, and we're thrilled to have you back to the show. But maybe somebody missed when you were here before. Can you share with our listeners a little bit about your role at HQ? Introduce yourself.
Sure. I think the last time I was here was for GIF in 2019, so it really has been a while.
In the before times.
Mm-hmm. Long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my name is Sven. You've already said that. My geocaching name is Blackhawk Germany, or Blackhawker. I've worked at HQ for about 3.5 years at this point, and I am the community volunteer support lead, which means that I lead the team that is in charge of all the community support efforts for the geocaching community volunteers. So reviewers, translators, moderators, who are other members from the community who help out the game behind the scenes. And my team is also in charge of some of the special projects that we've all seen out there, like the different releases of virtual rewards, and most recently, the new Locationless Cache, GC8NEAT.
Very cool. Well, that's quite the resume, I got to say. You're the right guy to know.
Yeah.
Just putting Sven on speed dial here. All right. Hey, so of course we're very excited to talk about GC8NEAT, but before we get into that, I don't know if a lot of people necessarily follow your social media, Sven, but if they do, like I do, they know that you get out to some pretty cool places and you like to take some pictures. So I got to ask you, what was your most memorable geocaching experience of 2020?
Probably a place that I actually did take some pictures at, which was a little hike out in the Snoqualmie Pass area for my 3,000 milestone, which took me and my wife out to Swan Lake and Rock Rabbit Lake. So a bit of logging road driving to get out into the backcountry there. And then, I know, it was a relatively short hike, but nobody found those caches in a couple of years. And so it was a bit of bushwhacking along like old abandoned trails, but it was good fun apart from the mosquitoes, and got a nice milestone. So here for that.
Nice. Congrats. That's awesome.
Congrats on 3,000. That's a big milestone. That
Okay.
you're a real geocacher now.
What are you saying, Chris?
3 out of the 4 of us are, I think. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh.
I got over 3,000 recently, so I consider that a milestone.
Yeah, it is. It's like 40 years of caching for me at my rate.
It's not about the numbers, right?
There you
No,
go.
it is not.
Exactly.
Until
about
your
the
numbers are higher
collecting
than somebody else,
experiences.
then it is.
Unless you put Land Monkey and somebody else in a room.
Yeah.
No, even then, it's
We just
about
won't mention
collecting
him.
experiences.
Well, there's one though. Never mind.
I know what you're trying to goad at, but I'm not biting.
Never mind. Moving on.
Oh, so Sven, GC8NEAT is a locationless cache available to log very soon coming up here. But perhaps you can give, other people an explanation of what a locationless cache is, because I'm actually old enough in geocaching to have found locationless caches before they were, well, grandfathered. I'm not a grandfather yet.
I was going to say that term alone probably implies something, Chris. But
Yeah, it does. So what is a locationless cache and why are they special?
So you said you were one of the lucky ones to actually find them in that day and age. A lot of other people weren't as lucky, and so for them it was this icon that was no longer available that was taunting them, supposedly, as that unavailable legacy cache type. And they went out of commission in 2006. So legacy cache type no longer available until we released GC8 Frog, the locationless cache for the 20-year anniversary to meet Signal or Find the Signal banner at mega events, and now GC8NEAT. So the idea behind locationless caches originally was to not find or visit a designated location per se, but find, for example, a red phone booth. Very popular in the UK. There's a couple places where you happen to stumble across them in the US, but you would find an object that was designated by the cache and then claim that particular instance representation of that object online, post the coordinates, and every location could only be claimed once. So the onus of keeping track of that was on the CO, and as you can imagine, over time that got quite messy. And that is ultimately what led to their retirement. The struggles of maintaining log integrity, and also as the game evolved, the idea of not visiting a designated location didn't feel just as right anymore. And at the same time, they have their place in the game history for sure, which is why we brought them back to some limited capacity.
That is the best explanation I have ever heard of why locationless caches aren't around anymore. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's just end the show now. We're not going to get any.
We're done.
Thanks for joining, everybody. Good night. Yeah.
Off the mic.
That really well done. Thank you, Sven.
Yeah. Yeah, they were fun. I have a few of them in my, because I'm also old, and just like Chris there. But
off my lawn.
I do remember feeling they felt a little weird even. I was like, this doesn't feel like geocaching. I mean, I found a few. There's a few in my stats, but I'm excited to see how this one works out there. So this one is really neat, which we all like. How does someone claim GC8NEAT now that we can some people can add that icon to their list?
So basically, we're trying to make the world a little bit more neat of a place, right? And we're probably going to hear puns along those lines as the year progresses and as the show progresses. The thought remains so. Think along the lines of CEDO, think along the lines of caching fresh out, caches improve the outdoors, making a positive impact on the environment, on the game board. And so what people are encouraged to do is to do CEDO-esque activities, like picking up garbage along their favorite walking path, eating invasive species in accordance with park bodies, hang up birdhouses, which is very popular in Europe, for example. Similar type of activities as have been done before. However, the big difference in this case is you don't need an official group CETO event to do it, but you can do it on your own schedule, individually or as a group, depending on what the local regulations currently allow, which, especially during the current pandemic that we're still battling worldwide, is also more important.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a great attribute for pandemic times.
Yeah,
So
I sorry, before you go on, I had to start laughing, Sven, when you said when you talked about removing invasive species, and you made sure you put the caveat in there of like, and make sure what you're removing is actually an invasive species that the park wants removed. Please don't like go.
Yeah,
That kind of looks like a weed. Let's just yank it.
Yeah, like you. I would hope that people, unless they are like botanists and know their stuff, wouldn't do that by themselves. That is something that is usually deliberately organized by a park association, for example. I know in some of the sandy beach dune areas, like there's particular grasses that need to go because they're taking away the place from the actual dune grass that you want growing places, that kind of thing.
Right.
So, over the last couple of months, I've removed this ivy in my backyard that has just gotten out of control, and I considered it invasive. Could I have claimed that if it had been during the time?
I think you can do better than that, Chris.
I think I can.
What a great answer.
That is the best answer I've heard.
Sven, you are so tactful. That is not the answer the rest of us would have given, Chris. We've got some great feedback in the chat already. Chris, did you want to grab some of that?
Sure. The first one, let's see. Do you guys have the 3 hams in a rose? I don't know how far back it was.
It's way back up. So I'll start reading it while you look for it. Oh, there we go. So 3 hams in a rose asks, the locationless cache will be used as my 15,000 milestone in about 900 caches time. I might have to clean up the campsite I'm at or someone's backyard or the parking lot I'm in for a parking grab. So I guess my question I would make out of his comment is the campsite cleanup, parking lot cleanup seems legit. Seems like those would comply with the rules.
A good rule of thumb that I would encourage everybody to go by is if it would be okay for a legit CETO, it's probably going to be okay for GC8NEAT also. So in that sense, like the thing that often is the big point for CETOs is that it must be in cache-friendly areas. I don't know whether Chris has a cache hidden in his backyard. So
no, I'll put one out there so I can do my own yard.
That'd be one way. At the same time, I'm sure that everybody will find a location that is meaningful to them and where they feel they can really make an impact. And I hope that for such a special opportunity, people won't just go for the easiest and next most convenient thing. A 15,000 milestone is of course, a great and worthy occasion. And so I would encourage you to make it count. I'll be planning to do the same for my 4,000 milestone, which is not too far away. So we'll see how that goes.
Excellent.
Nice. We have one from Trexer. This is, how many cache pages did HQ need to create to finally get that GC code?
I think they have control over that.
Yeah.
So
Sven knows someone.
To give you a bit of an idea, so the idea has been around, and we can talk about like how the idea became a thing and ultimately became a cache later in the show, I believe. But as far as the GC code is concerned, when the project started coming together, you can search for GC codes, and so we just did a brainstorm of, hey, what kinds of fun GC codes would match the theme, and we were looking for a GC8 CETO, for example, but that was already taken. We were looking for other options, and ultimately we stumbled across GC8NEAT, which started its life as a unpublished, archived event in Germany from, I think, a year ago or so. That wasn't published for event stacking reasons. And so we found an agreement with the player to take over the GC code and turn it into the cache that we all get to enjoy today.
Nice.
Very cool.
Well done.
So with this, we've got a sense now of what one can do in order to log it. Can I log this more than once, or do I just get one shot at this?
It is only one log. So historically, locationless caches used to allow more than one find log, because you could find more than one red phone booth, to stick with that example. When we introduced GC8 Frog, and also with the rest of the game now only being one find per cache, basically we made the whole experience consistent with those limitations. And so both GC8 Frog can only be claimed once, and hence also GC8NEAT can only be claimed once.
That makes sense.
Mhm.
Now, I've seen online they've used the hashtag SoloCito, which is actually a little hard to say. I've slowed down to make sure I can
Rolls
pronounce
off the tongue.
SoloCito.
Sounds
Is this going to
Italian.
tie in with the Cito seasons in any way, or any other souvenir promotion?
It ties in with it only insofar as that the end in mind, so the goal of environmental initiatives and improvements, is very similar. However, GC8NEAT stands by itself. So you get a special themed souvenir for actually finding the cache. However, you will not also get the Cito souvenir if you were to log it during the respective season. Like, those will still require a dedicated Cito event to be attended, which may be more accessible currently in some regions than in others. And that's another good reason to maybe give the people who currently cannot host regular formal Cito events, give them an alternative to enjoy that, so to speak, historically is very impactful as well.
Nice. GSM times 2 says, I suppose I couldn't get credit if I take down Sven's Christmas lights.
We actually turn them on all year round. They're just sort of like mood lighting at this point.
Nice.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, Chris, you just need to sing it, like Solocito. Let's all go make a playing grid neato. No?
Oh, no, you don't want to hear me sing.
Thumbs up from me.
Something else from Stark Cacher. Are these locationless caches going to put Washington State on my cache found map, even though I've not found any caches in Washington State? Will it also become my furthest west cache, etc.?
Great question. No, they will not. So locationless caches already were and will remain excluded from awarding county and country souvenirs. So as somebody who had not found caches in Washington or the US, they're not going to get either one of those souvenirs, just because in the past we've seen that sort of illegitimately earned souvenirs were upsetting to people. Like, they only really wanted to earn them if they had actually visited the place. We have to place the cache coordinate somewhere, and so we placed them in Seattle outside our doorstep. However, they will not give you the USA or the Washington souvenir.
Okay, but you can come here this summer for the big celebration event and get those souvenirs then. Okay. Well,
I'll make sure to stand there and throw trash on the ground so people can claim it.
Very kind of you.
I got it at the coordinates. There was this guy who was just a litter bug.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
It's close to the Space Needle, so I think there will be enough.
Yeah,
there you go. I was going to say Brian Roth can come looking around going, who's this homeless guy throwing all the garbage?
All right. Well, speaking of souvenirs and details and stats and all that, once I have completed my Solocito and have my GC8NEAT logged, how do I check my profile, my stats, to see that it's really there, that I've got that icon added?
So for players like Chris, that will be a little more difficult, given that he has found locationless caches, and so he may have to look a little more closely to spot 3. Okay, in that case, it's probably
not a lot.
All right, still. But what you want to do is you want to go to your profile. You want to just look in the tab that shows the different cache types that you found and the count next to them, and you will find a locationless (reverse cache) there now. You can also look on the stats page that also has a breakdown by geocache type. And for a lot of people, that will probably say 0 at this point. Once you claim GC8NEAT or GC8Frog, it will say 1. And it'll no longer be buried at the bottom as the old unavailable thing, but it'll move right to the top to maybe the ape cache, for example, which I believe a lot of other people have only got one of those. So
Yeah.
we'll be in good company.
It's infinitely greater than 0, 1.
Mm-hmm. It's the loneliest number.
Oh, it is, especially for locationless caches.
Yeah.
Mine were silly. There was one that was a round building. My bank happens to be a round building. And the other one was find lions in front of a building.
Oh, that's Land Sharks was saying that was theirs. Was
Yeah.
There you go.
lions in front of, so they noted that was a memorable one for them as well.
Happen to have a house a block away.
There you go.
They're lions.
There you go.
Log a lion.
There you go.
In Victoria.
Cute. Very cute. Before I get to my next question, MC3 Cats was wondering if he can get to the Geo HQ Plaza and pick up trash. He assumes that will count for his his locationless GC8NEAT.
I haven't been down to the office in a while, so I don't know how much trash Chris is going to find. Given that I believe the building management still, the property management company still cleans up around there. But along the Burke Gilman, for example, that can always use a cleanup.
Yeah.
There you go.
Just schedule with me. I'll go down there and throw something down. Pick up.
Chris of the Northwest, always being helpful.
You're welcome.
Yeah, there you go. So Sven, we're really curious at the inception of GC8NEAT. So what prompted the idea for this to be created?
So the idea was a little older already, actually. So if we're thinking back to like April-ish, May, end of April, early May last year, the pandemic had kicked off. Nobody really knew how long was this going to last. Everybody was trying to make the most of it, kind of keep a sense of more normal life. And so likewise, we were kind of thinking, hey, what are some opportunities that we may have to make more, so to speak, virtual-ish caching experiences available to people? At the time, we felt it was maybe a little early, again, because nobody really knew, like, okay, was this going to be over in 2 months? And then you've put a bunch of stuff out there, you've invested a bunch of resources that maybe ultimately didn't have the impact that you really desired. So let's say 6 months from there, we kind of figured out, okay, this isn't going anywhere, right? We're still in this. We're still in this all together. We're still trying to figure stuff out. So in early October is when we took the idea off the shelf and started to commit to it, and started having the necessary conversations. Kind of fleshed out the idea a little more. Found the GC code. Found the theme, or like solidified the theme that had previously just been an idea. And then did the work. So did all the write-up, all the art assets had to be created, everything had to be set up, appropriate parties had to be looped in, and then ultimately, a couple of weeks ago, we were able to launch as a New Year's delight, I would like to think. And now, a week from now, roughly, February 6th, the cache will be unlocked, and then it will run until the end of the year.
Very cool.
Now, that is very cool. I mean, it's really hard for non-lackeys or, just regular players to realize how much effort goes into something like this, right? This is just one cache. It's locationless. You don't even have to hide anything. It should be really easy, but you just mentioned a list of departments that were involved. How many people worked on this project? I mean, it didn't just pop out and, hey, let's do this. This would be cool. And you're done in an afternoon. Yeah, no, it was a massive effort. And before I give some shout outs, I wanted to mention another consideration that I missed a second ago. So guidelines, right? Especially on CVS, it's the team that curates the guidelines, that
considers how do things evolve, how do things change, what needs to be changed. With events, there was a lot of push for virtual events. They don't necessarily fit with the guidelines of the game. If you were to get softer on that, it would really be a slippery slope. We saw examples in the community where people were still able to host events and then open them up for people to log them virtually, which we had to kind of step in and be the bad guys. So GC8NEAT, being in this contained framework, meets all the guidelines, so to speak. It doesn't dilute other important cache types like CETOs or regular geocaching events, and it still provides people the outlet and the opportunity to engage in it. But like you said, wasn't just a one-man show. Far from it. So I made a list just so I don't forget anybody. We of course had various developer teams helping out that laid the groundwork when we originally released GC8 Frog. We had Ains from the creative team who created all the art assets. So the cache page banner, everything that you saw on social media, the blog, the souvenir that people can enjoy very soon. And they did a fantastic job with that. We have Chris Rockchalk, who you all know very well. He was the mastermind behind the communication, drafted the blog post, did a great job with that. We had Annika and Brigitte from marketing who got the word out via the newsletter and set all that up. We had Genevieve and Megan from the community engagement team who helped out with more CETO-specific guidance and got the word out on social media. And we had Alice, who is on the HQ's business development team, but leads HQ's green team, so our internal incentive for being more green, being more environmentally aware and friendly, and improvements on that end. So she provided expertise, and I really only had the pleasure to bring all those moving pieces together. But if it hadn't been for everybody else, the project wouldn't have been the success that it was and is.
Let's say don't downplay that, because that's an important role.
Thank you.
Project manager, yeah.
Yeah.
But that is quite the power team you had there. That's awesome.
So more comments from Dora Moore. Oh, 25 or 64. There you go. She said, I've really been missing CETO events, and so I appreciate the chance to do some CETO and earn a new icon for it, because she's way too young to have been geocaching back when locationless caches existed.
How very true.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say that we're all missing CETOs. I know my boss Cindy, who's a major advocate for CETO events in the Seattle area, has been sorely missing them, and frankly, everybody. Right? It's just a fun way to get together. It's a fun way to give back, and it's been over a year, right? So it's
We're coming up on 11 months.
We're all
here.
ready.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the 400th of March right now. Something like that, anyway. All right, well, I know you touched on this already, but if somebody maybe you wasn't listening closely, when can I do this? I'm excited to get my GC8NEAT. I'm going to go out and do it tomorrow. I'm ready, right? What are the dates for this again?
You can do it tomorrow, but
You can. You can always clean up the game board.
So logging will you sure can. So logging's gonna open on February 6th in the morning hours Pacific time, and then it's gonna run until the end of the year. So you have the whole year. I mentioned earlier, like, this is a special cache. I would encourage everybody to make a count. If you want to get it on the first day, be my guest. If you want to take your time, wait until the season maybe is a little better. Maybe we wait until the current health situation and the current regulations make for a bit of an easier time. Maybe that's a great idea as well. So available starting February 6th until December 31st, 2021.
that's a nice big window, which
Mm-hmm.
is awesome. Sven, before we wrap up, maybe just one more time, if you can, because I've seen some chatter in our very active and awesome chat here, and there's a few people who are maybe not entirely clear still around how do you actually log this once February 6th rolls around. Can you maybe just quickly recap for folks what they do to log this?
Sure. So you will need to make a positive impact. You will need to clean up. You will need to take a picture of your accomplishment. You will have to upload said picture with your log and describe what you did. Tell us a little bit about it. And you will also want to mention where you actually did the cleanup. For example, I could say the Fremont neighborhood in Seattle, or something to that effect. If you're traveling and clean up somewhere, just give us an idea of where you did a thing and show off what you did.
Cool. So you would just go to GC8NEAT on geocaching.com, use the search function to find that page, and then you just hit the the green log geocache button there, and then you make sure you put the photo and the description exactly as you've said. Is that all you need to do? That's it?
That is correct. All the details are also on the cache page, which we all should do a better job of actually reading the cache page, I believe. I'm definitely guilty of that sometimes. But all the details are on there. One picture is required. If you have more great pictures of your effort, please feel free to share them. If you are a great storyteller, entertain other people with your log. Like some people really enjoy reading logs. We certainly will enjoy reading what all kinds of awesome things you guys have done out there. And something that the cache page also calls out, maybe you have an opportunity to take public transport as far as circumstances allow, or if you're doing it later in the year, that might be more possible. Maybe take other means of green transportation. Can you walk somewhere? Can you take the bicycle somewhere? Again, that will be more possible for some regions than for others, but just try and think of how might I make an impact with this, and how can I make it most meaningful for my community, for the game, but also for myself.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's great. Thanks for recapping that for us. Hopefully everyone who's listening to this, and who knows, I mean, you might be listening live right now, or you might be listening to the recorded podcast at some time in the not too distant future when you don't even have to wait. You can just go out and log it right away. So
Right.
that's
Anytime before December 31st, 2021.
There you go. So Sven, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It has been a lot of fun talking with you and learning all about GC8NEAT. If people would like to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
I believe you see my geocaching username in my name field, so you can try the geocaching geocaching message sent to reach out to me. Please be mindful that my days tend to be pretty busy, so it may take a while for me to respond. I will try my best to respond. However, for customer service questions, there's a better place. Just contact us via the help center. But I'm always happy to talk to you, hear what you have to say. And thanks to all you guys for having me on.
Fantastic. And there on the screen now, in case anybody needs it, there's your caching name.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. And Sven, you're welcome to come on anytime Rock Chalk says you're allowed to.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris.
Or you know what? You could come on and talk just about geocaching stuff, not as a lackey. You're welcome to do that as well.
Just like Jesse did the other week, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
She was non-lackey at that moment. So,
well, if we find an opportunity in the future, let me know.
Sounds great. Thank you. And folks, thank you for listening. We encourage you to get out and clean up the game board and do something nice for the parks, for the community around you.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? You can get maybe a brand new unique icon for you. We also hope you enjoyed listening to this episode of Caching in the Northwest.
Absolutely. And of course, we want to take a moment to thank Landsharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor. Hey, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to their newsletter to find out about new products first. Yes. You know what? You would have found out about that shiny new coin if you subscribed to their newsletter. You wouldn't
Yeah.
need me to tell you about it. But clearly, you haven't signed up for the newsletter. So here I am telling you about it again. So just go sign up for the newsletter. I'm getting tired of this. All right.
Shiny.
Anyways, Landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online. And remember, they are shipping online orders daily. We want to thank all of our faithful Denali level supporters, Landsharks, Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, and Cachly, the geocaching app. If you want to know more about supporting this show, click that Patreon link on the cachingnw.com, a website.
You know, like 3 Hams and a Rose has done.
Yeah, and Subway Mark,
And the Tika Magnet,
And Genice,
Hacker Duck,
Kennel Barb,
Donners,
Antaeus.
Udak,
Trexer Zero,
Just finding our way.
CRS 98.
LG 9000,
MC3 Cats.
Nice. Thank you. I really appreciate you doing that.
Just for you.
Thank you. The Camp Clan,
Wino Seattle,
The Geo Travelers.
Logwork,
GSM times 2,
Nerve.
Team Noltex,
Kid Vegas 19,
Hello Road Brick.
Utox, Two Rocks,
B Pendragon,
Sprouter.
Kev MacD,
Greenwords,
Doramore.
T Sayer,
Fairwood West.
Seabeck Tribe.
So quiet I couldn't even hear it.
Oh,
And I've got headphones on. Geo Nav Pros,
Boomer 365.
Sege Hove.
On a Boat,
Broncos fan for life.
Hey, he wasn't listening live, but we saw that he made a comment in the chat anyways. Limax,
nice. Keats 94,
Wet Coaster.
and another new patron, Peach. Hey, Peach, thank you so much.
Fantastic. All right. Well, if any of you are new here and have stuck with us this long, thank you for joining us. Where have you been? We can do this for a little while. Let's see. I'm Wits End. He's Chris of the Northwest. He's Land Monkey. And our guest is Black Hawkcher. So you can find us at the Geocaching Message Center, just like Black Hawkcher. All 4 of us are there. And the 3 of us hosts you can find at cachingnw.com/hosts.
And folks, it's time for our newest segment. We call it At Last. It's a segment to learn a little bit more about your host. And you may wonder what last means. Why, it means listeners ask some things and we get to answer. Now, if you would like to ask some things, call into 253-693-TFTC or email your questions to feedback@cachingnw.com. So the question this time, if you had a time machine, would you go back in time or to the future? Wits End, I'm going to start with you because when it comes to time machines, I think you've already thought this through.
I'm not sure what you mean.
An expert.
Well, I'm currently traveling forward in time.
Oh, yeah.
So that's not anything new. I would have to go back, I think. It's just a question of how far back.
But you can't tell us. Butterfly effect, remember?
I know. See, yeah. Maybe I already have. And they won't tell anybody.
And that's why we have coronavirus.
That's why, yeah, not saying. I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay.
I'm just saying at this stage of my life, I have some regrets, and I would love to go back and fix a few things.
Interesting. What about Sven, our guest?
Given the event of the last couple of days, probably go forward and come back and know what the next GameStop bubble is.
How very true. Isn't that amazing? What's happened there? Land Monkey, what would you do?
Well, Wits End said that he's currently traveling forward in time. Well, ironically, I'm currently traveling backward in time. So the most difficult part is that I constantly have to speak backwards so that everybody else understands me.
Oh, yeah.
The good news is I know what you're going to say. So it makes it a little bit easier. But in general, what direction would I travel?
Show off.
I'd probably go back in time, and I'd probably go like way back in time, just because I'm a history buff, and I would just love to have the ability to drop into different places and times. And I see MC3 Cats threw in Quantum Leap, and that's exactly kind of what I'm thinking, like that ability to travel back. If you guys remember that show?
Yes.
Yes.
Scott Bakula, right? Is that
Yes.
Mhm.
Captain Kirk, or not Captain Kirk?
Captain Archer.
Archer, yes, Captain Archer. Anyways, that kind of concept of time and space, and be able to just observe. A butterfly effect guy's going to get me in trouble here, but maybe interact in key historical events just fascinates me, the idea. So there you go.
Well,
Backwards.
about that, I just have to say, excellent.
Totally not bogus.
Nobody said what the time machine had to look like. It could be a hot tub
Or a phone booth.
or a phone booth. I personally would go to the future. I would want to know what it looks like. Brylang wouldn't go far into the future, just enough to get the lottery numbers and come back and buy the tickets.
Well, we didn't say he'd come back.
I didn't know if there was going to be a round trip involved,
Yeah,
Yeah.
you didn't specify.
Details.
Yeah.
So
Keats wants to know, you want to go back to like the French Revolution?
I might be careful where I go.
yeah.
Brad would go
Also-
back and log some of those locationless caches.
There you go.
Yeah, I'd probably avoid the Bolshevik revolution as well.
And the
What about
Spanish
the
Inquisition.
missile crisis? Nobody expected the Spanish
That's
Inquisition.
right.
Yeah, their chief weapon was surprise.
Oh, fun. Hey, folks, thanks for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. Don't forget that you can be part of the show. Call into 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask us a question, or offer to landscape our yards any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, please click on the Patreon link somewhere there on the cachingnw.com website and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Give us a thumbs up or a review. This show is produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Copyright 2021 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for
The After Show.
Okay, that was really loud in my head.
Not too bad here.
It was good here. Yeah, it's too bad for you.
If anybody wants to landscape my yard, I'll make sure to plant a cache and throw trash around so you can also
Okay.
claim. That's just
Two for- nice.
Somebody said they should save it for an icon day.
Like an icon run, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's smart. That's thinking.
Especially
But
since
you
Project
actually have to
GC
do it.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. What was that said?
Especially since Project GC raised the highest from, I think, 10 different cache types to 11 different cache types.
Oh,
So now that adventures are more available too, maybe you can even
Mhm.
do more than 11.
there you go.
Nice. Let's see. This one came from way back. GSM times 2 says, has the baby been named yet? I would suggest Solocito.
It's a good suggestion.
That may turn out to be the winning name now. I don't know. have we heard back from the Winos family
We
yet?
have not.
Oh, so reminder, Winos family. we need some help to finish that contest. All right. Keats94 sent out a reminder that a new episode of Keats94's Geocaching Adventures goes live tomorrow at 10 a.m. The Kmart Creek Expedition. Wow, that sounds pretty
Ooh.
dramatic. While we're on that topic, hey, I'm going to drop a little bit of news. With support from Caching in the Northwest, there's a new podcast to listen to.
What?
Yeah, all about earth caching. So Keats94 and myself have started a new podcast. First 2 episodes are up online. It's called This is Planet Earth. So you can check it out over on landmonkey.ca and find out. We're going to take you on an adventure and teach you everything that we can find out about earth caching. We're going to bring in all kinds of different experts to talk to us and go on an earth caching expedition. So come along for that. And thank you to Caching in the Northwest for the technical support to help us get that going.
Now, if we watch this podcast, are we going to be earth cache experts in no time at all?
In time, yes. If you work your way through it, it's intended to be a way to just start from episode 1, work your way through, and become an earth cache expert.
Nice. I watched episode 2 earlier this evening.
Awesome. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it.
I assume of your podcast. It could be of anything.
That's true. That's a good point.
Let's see. Icon run. I like that idea, says Land Sharks.
That is a good idea.
Starcaster says my highest day was 6.
Well,
GSM times 2, the overachiever, says he got 13 icons in Yuma, but Project GC only says 12.
There you go. You got screwed somehow.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Well, I had a question for Sven. I wanted to know, how do you become a community volunteer since that's your department? Oh,
so
best answer yet.
Okay. Now, thank you. We're just going to leave it at that.
The longer answer is be an advocate in your local community. Play the game the right way. And when you might least expect it, you might get asked. Reviewers usually get picked in collaboration with the local reviewer team and the larger reviewer community at some point down the line. So there's like different vettings, if you want to call it that, vetting steps along the way. But in terms of like some suggestions of how one might establish themselves in their local community, I believe we have a help center article on that. So if you search,
actually, there happens to be one. You could just type that in right now. We put the whole link there because we know you want to be able to type that in, or you could just say community volunteer reviewers in the help page.
Perfect. Thank you for finding that.
There you go.
It was a chat lackey help.
It was, that's a great question. I think people often wonder that and they kind of forget about it. And then, how do you do that? So there you go. Good to know. Be a good member of your geocaching community. Be an active, good member of your geocaching community. Oh yeah, there's good advice from
more than one language helps.
That does help. Yep. And like cleaning up the board, like we were talking, having CETOs. Even though you can't get more than one souvenir for GC8NEAT, you could still clean up more than one time. Or maybe you get somebody, your friends and family that aren't geocachers, to join the geocaching community, and then they can get the icon for themselves.
You could have your own little CETO event with members of your household. You could all, work together in a park. And then it would be a not solo CETO.
Duo CETO?
Duo CETO?
Mucho CETO.
Mucho CETO.
Grupo CETO.
That's awesome. I love it.
Nice.
All right. Well, what do you figure? We got everything there? Oh, nope.
Keats94 says, lead by example is the mantra I live by when geocaching.
Good for him. That's awesome.
I often think, what would Keats do? I don't think that. But I should.
That's a self-conversation to keep you going for quite a while. He does lots of things.
Yeah.
All right.
He currently does a podcast.
Yes.
That's
he does now.
And he fiddles in the woods.
He does. Yeah. See, what did I tell you? He does lots of things.
He's very busy.
He also asked a question. I don't know that anybody, including our guest, has the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyways. Do we know when we're going to see Adventure Labs on the geocaching map? I don't know that any of us know the answer to that.
Which map in particular?
I think in the app.
Geocaching.com.
I know that there's been conversation about that, but I don't know details about what a timeline might look like. That's all I can say at this point.
There
That's
you go.
an acceptable answer.
Mhm.
Perfect.
Not as good as the previous answer, which I thought was one of the best answers I've heard, but this one is good.
Okay, let me redact that and say magic, but with luster dust.
Ah,
Better answer.
But it's something that like I like to play adventures, especially these days. I'm also trying to fill my mystery calendar, and bonus caches for adventures are a convenient way to do that.
Yes,
So
they are.
I can see how there's good reasons to have that as a convenient thing and to just allow more
Mhm.
cross-platform experience.
You should talk with Jessie. She will help you make a notebook.
yes.
Fill out all this, so you've got this handy guide with you at any time.
I have seen her notebook and it's quite impressive. So
I've asked her to go into business making the notebooks. A custom notebook project for everyone.
Indeed. Yeah, I think she's I think she was considering it for a little bit until she realized how much work it would be, and then it was like, yeah, no. All right. One more Fatas here. I had a question from Trexer about This Is Planet Earth. He asked, is it on the podcast streams or is it just on the website? Right now, it's just on the website. I am working to get it on the podcast streams. iTunes has taken a little longer than I thought it would. So it will be there on the podcast streams. But if you want to listen to it right away, it's definitely on the website and you can grab it from there.
Apple's hard to
Nice.
work with. What?
Imagine that, eh?
Go
It's
figure.
not quick and easy. Yeah, it doesn't stream, but it's uploaded on Land Monkey's YouTube page.
Yeah. So it's
It's a work in progress.
yes, it does stream off the web page, and you can also go to YouTube. So yeah,
Folks, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And until next week, go out and clean up your game board while you're caching in the Northwest.